Herbert Louis Samuel, 1st Viscount Samuel GBEPC, was a British Liberal politician who was the party leader from 1931 to 35. He was the first nominally practising Jew to serve as a cabinet minister and to become the leader of a major British political party, and the last member of the Liberal Party to hold one of the four great offices of state. He also served as a diplomat. One of the adherents of New Liberalism, Samuel helped to draft and present social reform legislation while serving as a Liberal cabinet member. Biography. Herbert Samuel was born at Claremont No. 11 Belvedere Road, Toxteth, Liverpool, Lancashire, in 1870. The building now houses part of the Belvedere Academy. He was the brother of Sir Stuart Samuel. He was educated at University College School in Hampstead, London, and Balliol College, Oxford. He had a religious Jewish upbringing, but in 1892, while at Oxford, he renounced all religious belief, and wrote to his Jewish mother to inform her. He had been influenced by the work of Charles Darwin and the book On Compromise by senior Liberal politician John Morley. However, he remained a member of the Jewish community to please his wife, and kept kosher and the Sabbath for hygienic reasons. Samuel unsuccessfully fought two general elections before being elected a member of Parliament at the Cleveland by-election, 1902, as a member of the Liberal Party. He was appointed to the cabinet in 1909 by Prime Minister Herbert Henry Asquith, first as Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, and then later as Postmaster General, President of the Local Government Board, and eventually Home Secretary. He put forward the idea of establishing a British protectorate over Palestine in 1915, and his ideas influenced the Balfour Declaration. As Home Secretary, Samuel faced a shortage of manpower needed to fight in World War I, and initiated legislation which offered thousands of Russian refugees a choice between conscription into the British Army, or returning to Russia for military service. In December 1916, Asquith was replaced as Prime Minister by Lloyd George. Lloyd George asked Samuel to continue as Home Secretary, but Samuel chose to resign instead. He attempted to strike a balance between giving support to the new government while remaining loyal to Asquith. At the end of the war, he sought election at the general election of 1918 as a Liberal in support of the coalition government. However, the government's endorsement was given to his Unionist opponent and he was defeated. Women's rights. Initially he had not been a supporter of women's suffrage but changed his position. In 1917 a speakers' conference was charged with looking into giving women the vote but did not have as its terms of reference consideration to women standing as candidates for Parliament. However, Samuel moved a separate motion on 23 October 1918 to allow women to be eligible as members of Parliament. The vote was passed by 274 to 25 and the government rushed through a bill to make it law in time for the 1918 general election. Appointment as High Commissioner of Palestine. 2 months after Britain's declaration of war on the Ottoman Empire in November 1914, Samuel circulated a memorandum entitled The Future of Palestine to his cabinet colleagues, suggesting that Palestine become a home for the Jewish people under British rule. The memorandum stated that, "I am assured that the solution of the problem of Palestine, which would be much the most welcome to the leaders and supporters of the Zionist movement throughout the world, would be the annexation of the country to the British Empire." In 1917, Britain occupied Palestine during the course of the First World War. Samuel lost his seat in the election of 1918 and became a candidate to represent British interests in the territory. He was appointed to the position of High Commissioner in 1920, before the Council of the League of Nations approved a British mandate for Palestine. Nonetheless, the military government withdrew to Cairo in preparation for the expected British mandate, which was finally granted 2 years later by the League of Nations. He served as High Commissioner until 1925. Samuel was the first Jew to govern the historic land of Israel in 2,000 years. He recognized Hebrew as one of the 3 official languages of the Mandate Territory. He was appointed Knight Grand Cross of the Order of the British Empire on the 11th of June 1920. Samuel's appointment to High Commissioner of Palestine was controversial. While the Zionists welcomed the appointment of a Zionist due to the post, the military government, headed by Allenby and Bowles, called Samuel's appointment highly dangerous. Technically, Allenby noted, the appointment was illegal, in that a civil administration that would compel the inhabitants of an occupied country to express their allegiance to it before a formal peace treaty was signed, was in violation of both military law and the Hague Convention. Bowles said the news was received with consternation, despondency and exasperation by the Muslim and Christian population. They are convinced that he will be a partisan Zionist and that he represents a Jewish and not a British government. Allenby said that the Arabs would see it as handing country over at once to a permanent Zionist administration, and predicted numerous degrees of violence. Lord Curzon read this last message to Samuel and asked him to reconsider accepting the post. During the 1951 general election, on 15 October 1951, Samuel became the first British politician to deliver a party political broadcast on television. His son, Edwin, served in the Jewish Legion. Literary career. In his later years, he remained concerned over the future of humanity and of science, writing 3 books, essays in physics, In Search of Reality, and a collaborative work, A Threefold Chord, Philosophy, Science, Religion. The 3 works tended to conflict with the beliefs of the scientific establishment, especially as his collaborator and friend in the last work was Herbert Dingle. Bibliography. John Edward Bowell, Viscount Samuel. A Biography. Victor Gollancz. Samuel, Viscount Herbert. Memoirs. London. Honeydee, Sahar. A Broken Trust, Herbert Samuel, Zionism and the Palestinians. London. Segev, Tom. 1 Palestine, Complete. Jews and Arabs under the British Mandate. London. Little, Brown. ISBN 0-316-648590. Wasserstein, Bernard. Herbert Samuel and the Palestine Problem. English Historical Review 91. Wasserstein, Bernard. Herbert Samuel. A Political Life. Clarendon Press. Succession.